Welcome back to the Bodyful Minds Podcast. More you, less noise. Do you sometimes wonder whether it's possible to work fewer hours without putting your career at risk? Maybe you're craving more time with your family or simply more breathing space for yourself. But the thought of stepping back triggers the fear that your ambition will be questioned. Today we'll talk about how you can reduce your hours while still remaining on a leadership track, because ambitious mums like you deserve both space for life and career progression. Do your research first. Before making any moves, research is key. Start by asking yourself, what does my company really think about part-time leadership? To do that, look into your company's culture, like what are the policies on part-time leadership, if you're in a leadership position, or just generally part-time work? How have they handled it in the past? Look at HR guidelines carefully. What's the impact on your salary, on your benefits, and on promotions? But also, and crucially, try to gather stories. If you know other employees who've reduced their hours, or maybe you've got a colleague who knows somebody who's reduced their hours, and learn from their experience. And if you need discretion, you can frame it as exploring options for someone on your team, for example. This step protects your position while equipping you with facts, and facts are power when you enter negotiations. Once you've gathered this information, the next step is to move from research into planning. Now that you know the formalities, it's time to think about how this could work in practice. This is where you shift from what is possible to what could this look like for me and my team. Start by thinking like the leader that you already are. How can you make this transition beneficial not only for yourself, but for your team and company? Can you delegate part of your role to a team member as a development opportunity, so to speak, like an acting up allowance, so they get a little extra money, and this allowance can motivate them and cover part of your responsibilities? And then you've got to consider ripple effects, obviously, because what work would they hand off, and could a temp or admin support cover the rest? Map out potential objections also, from how clients perceive this to who covers you when you're not there. What if they've got questions when you're officially not working? And prepare a few responses in advance. And this shows your foresight and your leadership. Clarify your boundaries too. What is the lowest number of hours per week you're willing to work? What is the maximum you'd accept? And what would be your ideal outcome? Having a range in mind makes you more flexible in negotiations and clearer about your own needs. And you don't end up feeling like a pushover and thinking, well, that really wasn't worthwhile. I've put all this effort in and now I'm working, 5 hours per week less. Even that may make a difference, but it may not be what you really want, right? And then lastly, think about flexibility. Could there be a few weeks per year when it's especially busy, where you work more and then take time off in lieu later? If you're asking for flexibility from your company, it helps to also show where you can be flexible. And don't forget, remind decision makers of your value. What unique skills and experience would the company lose if you left entirely? Sometimes organizations need to see the risk clearly before they commit to flexibility. And let me give you a quick personal example. When I went on maternity leave for the first time, I arranged it so that 2 of my team leaders each stepped up at 50% to cover my role. Their own teams took on some of their tasks, and we brought in an additional admin assistant to handle the lighter responsibilities. This approach not only covered my absence, it created on-the-job professional development opportunities across the team. The result? Both team leaders later applied successfully for promotions elsewhere, and also the team were more successful. While the organization didn't retain them, the team leaders, forever, it did retain their talent and engagement longer than it might have otherwise, and it left the door open for them to return in the future. You may not be going on maternity leave, but the same principle applies when reducing hours. Thoughtful planning can create win-win situations. Development for your team, stability for the organization, and a smoother transition for yourself. Now, how to stay on the career track? One of the biggest fears ambitious moms have is, if I go part-time, will I stall my career? And here's the honest truth. Your career is already affected by motherhood, regardless of whether or not you're reducing hours. And sadly, even with the best preparation, there is still a risk. I want to be completely honest about this, because this is just the kind of culture we live in. And some company cultures really remain skeptical about part-time leadership roles, and progression can slow down despite your efforts. But knowing this upfront means you can make informed decisions and set realistic expectations. And that's part of why you do the research at the start, what the company culture is like. But you can also set an example for others. You can also help break ground for other mothers who want to do the same thing. But obviously, that's a decision you need to take. Is it something, a risk you're willing to assume or not? So this is why your research is so important. It will give you a sense of how supportive or averse your organization is to flexible arrangements and how much buy-in you can expect from your boss and from HR. The outcome also depends, of course, on how clearly you communicate your continued ambition. And here are a few ways to do that. Make it clear that reducing hours is not reducing dedication. Bring career progression into the conversation. Ask directly, how does part-time affect promotion opportunities? And document agreements, not just hours, but career development expectations. It's also a good idea to set SMART goals with your boss. That is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and time-bound goals that show you are still growing professionally in your part-time role. For example, within the next quarter, I will lead the implementation of a new client onboarding process, ensuring a 20% reduction in turnaround time while working a 4-day week. So that's for a customer-facing, a client-facing role, obviously. This demonstrates ambition, measurable impact, and relevance even within reduced hours. Another example could focus on team development. This could be, over the next 6 months, I will mentor 2 team members to independently lead monthly client meetings, aiming for them to take full ownership by the end of the period. This shows leadership, investment in others, and long-term vision for your team despite working part-time. And this is the Bodyful Minds podcast. So, you won't get away without some insights into body awareness. And that's the part that most people overlook. These conversations are not just about logistics. They're also about presence and energy. So, are you really present for the time that you're working, even if it's only part-time in quotation marks, and the energy you then bring to the table? And similarly, it's about the negotiations you're going into potentially. When you are grounded in your body, you show up with clarity, calm, and authority, the very qualities that make leaders trustworthy. Research shows that somatic awareness improves emotional regulation and stress resilience. So even if you don't have an established body awareness practice yet, small steps make a difference. Before you step into a negotiation, simply take a pause. Breathe. Notice your posture. Ground your feet. These micro practices help you arrive with more steadiness. When you do, your body signals confidence that words alone can't. This is what I mean when I say more you, not more to do. So, Mama, yes, it is possible to reduce your hours and remain on a leadership track. It takes preparation, clarity, and the courage to advocate for yourself. And while there is always some risk, your research and preparation give you the best chance of making it work. With the right mindset and strategy, you can shape a career that fits your life, not the other way around. Ready to put this into action? I've designed your part-time power plan, a practical guide that takes you through all the steps from today's episode, plus a few body awareness tools to help you stay centered and confident. And for those already working part-time, there's an early sign-up bonus available for the next 48 hours only to help you boost your career momentum. You can grab it via the link in the show notes. If this episode resonated with you, make sure you follow the podcast or share it with another mom. Until next time, remember your ambition doesn't shrink just because your hours do. You are more than enough, exactly as you are. More you, less noise.